Click disclaimer. Click disclaimer. Okay? The thing I'm going to say, okay? Click disclaimer. YouTube did not exist. The internet did exist, but it was still bugs in it. Netflix didn't exist yet. Netflix didn't come out until a few years later. YouTube came out a few years after this happened. So, okay, click disclaimer. YouTube happened. Before this, YouTube existed. This didn't happen. Okay. Click disclaimer. This is before YouTube even existed, okay? The internet was around, but there were still bugs in it, okay? Netflix didn't exist yet. Streaming, never heard of it. When it happened. I only had antenna, okay? I had rivers. Yes, cable existed, but it was just too damn expensive. You couldn't afford it. The only cable you had was your cable, that was it. A cable, that's it. You had no telephone with your cable until later on, okay? And this is another thing. Yes, Disney Channel existed, and yes, Nickelodeon existed. Cartoon Network also existed at the same time, but that was about it. Adult Swim didn't exist yet, and some other Cartoon Network, some other TV stations didn't exist yet. Yes, cable didn't exist, so did Dish, but we didn't have neither one. I remember watching an old ad on WB25 that you think about getting Dish or DirecTV or Dish. We are now on. Now I remember watching an ad back in 01 or 2001 of Dish on CW25, which was a South Bend affiliate. Okay, at the time, if you're thinking about buying DirecTV or getting Dish, CW25 is now available on Dish and DirecTV now. And this was on antenna, guys. You know, TV is always a little fuzzy and stuff. So yeah, if you're thinking about buying if you're thinking about getting cable, if you're thinking about getting, the person on TV said, "Are you thinking about getting Dish or DirecTV?" Good news, the CW25 is now on Dish and DirecTV. As I said, because back then you didn't have to get back then no one had cable. You didn't have to have cable, or you didn't have to have a satellite dish on TV on your house. I mean, I used the antenna until 2014. When I moved here, we got cable. We got cable in 2014. I mean, I didn't start doing YouTube until years later. Okay, now that bull crap. Now let's start. Now it's 10:01 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna watch this. I've not seen it yet, so here we go. This is from 97 to.
Deep in the great trenches of pop culture history lies a dead vessel known as Saturday morning cartoons. These used to be shows created specifically for airing on free networks for children to enjoy when they had a day off from school and church. Of course, the history of Saturday morning cartoons goes back as far as the early 1950s, but it was flourishing well into the early 2000s.
Sonic!
With the advent of bigger cable networks like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. Speaking of Disney, what I want to specifically talk about today was a great programming block from the late 90s called One Saturday Morning. This was a block that ran from 1997 to 2002, which was later replaced by ABC Kids, that ran until...
Quick disclaimer, guys. All Saturday morning cartoons went dissolving around 2002. The Fox Kids Network got bought by... At the time, Fox Cinnabon got bought by ABC in 2002. Then it went to hell. Just like that. Something like that. So, yeah, then Yu-Gi-Oh! Took over, then WB took over Fox and like, what, 2004, 2003? After around 2003, 2004, Fox Network stopped doing kids programming completely. Fox Kids is still around, but it's now known as Disney XD. So, yeah. And I'm
2011. I want to talk about this because in the age of constant nostalgia-grabbing BuzzFeed articles and Facebook posts titled, "Do you remember this?"
Let's see here. I'm going to leave a comment real quick. We might do some more cartoons with us. So, just here. Do you remember? Yeah. Oh, maybe we'll look into that later. Okay. WBNDU, ABC 57. WBND, ABC 57. Remember watching that from 2000? South Bend, Indiana. Owner of WB25 and Channel 69. WB25. Which that was true at the time. Still is true today. They're still owned by ABC 57 owns WB25. Well, the same channel. This one does ABC, one does CBS. So yeah.
I'm surprised by how little there is about this amazing tiny period of TV history. It's probably because it ran so short and was later turned into Disney Channel mini marathon of their own programming, but it was honestly pretty great when it first started.
Yeah, it was good.
Died a slow death. The real question is, what happened?
I mean, I remember Recess, and you remember... I mean, come on. There's a few good TV shows back then, guys. I mean, think ABC Kids one Saturday morning, you had WB. Okay, now ABC went to... Okay, ABC Kids. Okay, when I woke up, what channel I went to? I went to Channel 28, WSJV, Fox 48. Watched Magic School Bus, and that was about it. 9 o'clock, turned to Channel 57. What was on Channel 57? Well, you see, you had Recess on TV. You had Recess. You had Mickey Mouse, the Mickey House of Mouse, the Weekenders, which were all good shows. I mean, Weekends were great. Then you had Pepper Ann and some other shows that I never actually watched. Just look at that. Recently, I've been enjoying Pepper Ann, and if you look online, you can't find much of Pepper. I mean, you know.
Started in 1996 when the FCC took an earlier mandate from 1990 to increase the educational and informational.
FCC would screw us over, guys.
Children on their weekends off. Yeah, you know that little EI thing that's in the corner of kids shows that air on NBC, CBS, and PBS? Well, that means that the current programming fulfills the mandate. This was something that the big networks and individual translators had to cover, otherwise they'd be fined. That didn't put a death to shows.
Discovery Kids, NBC.
Like Discovery Kids and WB Kids survived by arguing that their shows had good morals to support an educational physique.
Pokemon!
So Disney was bold enough to create an entire block of original animation on their own.
Recess. Recess.
Take care of this mandate rather than rely
Recess,
on
Doug! Which went to Doug went to NBC. Doug went to
the idea of a block that had character.
Doug went to Viacom after being on ABC for a few years. Went to Viacom, where it stayed on until the 2000s. I remember watching Doug on Viacom for years at a relative's house. I can't see what relative was due to legal reasons. I can't tell you what the relative's name is. No, he's not in jail. It's just that me and him kind of are not in speaking terms right now. Me and him are not actually on speaking terms right now. Just leave it at that. If he shows up on here, then I'll tell you what I mean. But me and him are actually not right now on speaking terms. Just leave it at that. I kind of had a fight with this person. I'm not going to say who it was. I don't even know if they even knew we had a fight. And we're not on speaking terms at this time. Lately, I've been on speaking terms with this person for maybe for about 2 years now, since the Coronal Virus.
In the building,
we're not really on speaking terms, just with that.
Day of Saturday. Several shows were created, like Recess, Pepper Ann, 101 Dalmatians, Science Court, and
Never seen that one.
Which had been acquired from Nickelodeon. They even continued to air Disney-owned shows like The New Adventures
of Winnie the Pooh, yeah.
And the WB-owned Bugs Bunny and Tweety
Nope,
show,
never seen that one.
Of Looney Tunes shorts,
never seen that.
Due to their high ratings until the contract with Warner Brothers ended in 2000.
Never seen that.
If you watch the Little Mermaid VHS, you can actually find a pretty fun commercial promoting the new block.
Disney's One Saturday.
Oh, how about Inspector? I mean, I have tons of old Disney movies here around the house somewhere. If I could find one, I might put it up there, show you some old. They actually have old commercials from that time. ABC's One Saturday Morning and Sundays was supposed to be movie night. But recently they changed, and then mid-2000, like 2002, 2003, they changed it to Saturday nights. Because that'd be more proper, because kids had to go to school in the morning on Sunday. I remember watching El Dorado on Sunday. I remember watching El Dorado. Lilo and Stitch was on there a few times. I don't even know if they still even do it, though. I don't really know if they still do it anymore. I mean, a lot of movies, back then, it was Sunday night, or I could go to NBC and watch, I remember watching a few times watching Twister, a few other movies like that on NBC for a few years. Then ABC Kids, ABC did the same thing. And then now, who knows? Most of the time, I don't even know they even do Saturday night movies anymore. I don't even know if they do or not. I mean, I haven't seen them. I mean, I remember seeing the promo where it showed Cruella DeVille and some other things, but they don't do it anymore. They don't do it anymore at all. Over the years, they haven't did that over years, so I don't know if they still even do it. Oh, I also remember Lloyd being on Saturday mornings too. Lloyd was a good show.
On ABC with brand spanking new Doug, Pepper Ann, and Recess.
We never seen Pepper Ann.
Always my favorite subject in the school.
Oh, remember her. Remember her.
Block was a pretty big hit from the start. There really wasn't anything airing on any other network that had simply comedic shows that had good moral characters.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything else seemed to be action
Fox.
and anime based. And here came
Godzilla
Disney
Fox.
with that masterful work of vertical integration. It was so powerful that a spin-off was made for UPN called Disney's 1-2, which featured a lot of the same
UPN?
shows. I was
Never heard of
young
UPN.
when the block first started, so I didn't experience the times when they actually had a host named Mimi, an elephant played by Brad Garrett, and other types of characters. There were many programs like Mrs. Munger's Class, How Things Work, Manny the Uncanny, and
Never seen
Great
it.
Minds Think for Themselves,
Never seen it.
which actually had Robin Williams reprising
Never seen
Angela
that.
as the genie.
Back on the air with the Physics Friends Network. Toledo.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of relativity?
Why, sure. A particle of light leaves the sun at the same time a spaceship also leaves the sun. The spaceship rockets off at speeds close to the speed of light. If an observer on the sun...
Truthfully, I was about 2 years old when the block started.
Yep.
When it reached its later years, things like
Lloyd!
the storylines involving the live-action.
I mean, I remember watching it back in 2000, 99, 2000. Now, in 99, I was 5 years old. In 1999, I was 5 years old. 2000, I was 6. In 2001, I was 7, which is when it kind of got cut off. That's when the Fox Box came out and ABC Kids came out. ABC One Saturday Morning came out. Okay. When the Fox Box came out and ABC Kids One Saturday Morning came out, that was hell for me because I had 2 shows on at 9 o'clock I wanted to watch. It was Cubics and it was Emperor's New School. Most of the time I watched Emperor's New School. And boy, my life sucked.
Characters and hosts and mini segments
Teacher's Pet!
dropped as the ratings began.
Timo Soprano!
It wasn't cost effective to do that kind of stuff when they could just air the TV shows themselves without any of the announcers or hosts. By 2000, they had enough episodes produced to survive on the TV shows alone, but surprisingly, even though the live action stuff was dropped, new animated shows kept
Hercules.
being produced, like Hercules, Mickey Mouse Works, The Weekenders.
Remember that show?
Teacher's Pet,
Remember that show?
Buzz Lightyear,
Remember that show?
Starman,
Those
Lord
are-
in Space,
remember that?
House of Mouse,
Yeah.
Mary Kate and
Nope.
Ashley in Action.
Never seen it.
And Timo.
Yeah!
Some of these shows were so popular that they got their own films, like Doug's First Movie,
Yeah.
Teacher's Pet, and
Never seen it.
Recess School's Out, a
Seen it.
personal favorite of mine. Yet Recess was actually a pretty damn popular show.
Actually, he got some. Recess was so popular, I actually got 2 movies. Recess actually got 2 movies made. Which actually is true. I looked it up, guys. Recess actually got 2 movies made. Wait, I mean, Recess got 2 movies. Yeah. I don't think even I don't think I left any comments on his videos. I didn't. Well, he's gonna think, what do you mean Recess got their own movie?
Oh, and it would survive the longest of all these shows.
Yeah, it did.
Even into the transition from One Saturday Morning to ABC Kids.
Yep.
The later years of the block were some of my earlier memories.
The only thing I
Most of
remember
the
it, too.
live-action stuff was replaced with bumpers of kids playing outside.
Yep, I remember
guess.
that.
Probably what kids should be doing instead of watching TV.
At 9 in the morning? I don't think
In
so.
the last 2 years of the block, Lizzie McGuire and even Stevens aired to promote
Never seen those
Zoom
shows.
Disney, a block of shows aimed at older kids. But
Nope,
it
never
was
seen it.
Disney testing the waters for their next plan. You see, during this time, Disney actually purchased Fox Family, which became ABC Family, which of course later became known
Freeform.
as Freeform. In the process, they also got the rights to Power Rangers. Seeing the cash cow that Power Rangers
Power Rangers was owned by Sinbon, which Sinbon was working with Fox at the time. And then Sinbon got bought by Disney. Then Disney got rid of Sinbon, and Sinbon went to Nickelodeon. And yes, as of this recording, Power Rangers is still on the air, still doing stuff after 28 years on the air. It's still in the air as we speaking right now, still doing shows.
could be due to its popularity and relatively
is now on Viacom.
but not really fitting into their block of fun animated kids shows, and with Lizzie McGuire and even Stevens doing so well in the block, the decision was made to completely rebrand the block as
I hated ABC one.
Disney would do a smart economic decision by just taking reruns from Disney Channel programming that could be argued as educational, and they would throw it on ABC while producing new episodes of the flagship show, Power Rangers. Now, many 90s kids will...
Okay, let's see here. September 14th. That is actually the day it killed Saturday morning cartoons. Fox Kids got... Okay, we do know, for example, that Fox Kids, CBS, and ABC all switched over September 14th. And CBS got Nickelodeon/Viacom programming. We know that ABC got ABC Kids. We know Fox turned to the Fox Box, which lasted for a year. Then it got killed off altogether. The last show was on Fox Kids. The last show was actually over on Fox, the Fox Network for Saturday morning cartoons, was Degrassi, which never watched. Yeah, that was it. Saturday morning cartoons. One episode of Degrassi, and that was it. Everything else was boring stuff. Yeah, WSGV, Fox 48. Last thing I remember being on Saturday morning cartoons on Fox 48 was Degrassi. Never seen Degrassi, never liked Degrassi. It was an adult show, one episode. That was all you got, and that was it. Yeah. On Saturday morning cartoons, you got the Fox Box, and you had Puccini. That was it. Sunday, one episode of Puccini, that was it. Which, I thought, okay, Puccini was a stupid show. I hate it. Even when I was younger, I hated the stupid show. The kid was an idiot. But, yeah, you know what I mean. But, September 14th is where everything went downhill. The only person that never had a problem was NBC. NBC, they were fine. Now NBC's owned by, now Discovery Kids is now owned by ABC, so it doesn't matter, does it? Which was owned by Disney. Disney owns a lot of crap, owns a lot of stuff. That's just what killed everything off.
This was the absolute death of great TV, but I'm going to go a little on the defensive.
Fillmore.
When I saw the ads for the new block, I was hyped. Getting Disney Channel shows when you didn't even have cable was a dream come true. Things like Proud Family, Kim Possible, with even Stevens and Lizzie McGuire sticking around, as well as Recess.
Even Lizzie McGuire didn't like.
The early days of One Saturday Morning were long gone. Most of the shows had disappeared.
Sabrina!
Show up on Toon Disney. But Recess still stuck around, being easily the best show.
Pepper Ann.
A new show specifically for the block was created called Fillmore.
Remember that show?
Awesome middle school detective show that's gone completely forgotten. In fact, that might be worth doing a video on.
Fillmore was good.
So when people often complain about ABC Kids, I think it's simply because original programming wasn't being made anymore. I still enjoyed it because I went without Disney Channel my entire life. So it was nice seeing all these shows. But the complaints were noteworthy. Ratings slowly dwindled.
Emperor's School.
But things like Power Rangers kept it alive as they kept producing new seasons up until 2009.
Now, I'm going to rewind this real quick, guys, and give you the time card.
But Recess still stuck around, being easily
Recess is the only thing I really watched.
A new show specifically for the block.
Yeah, Fillmore was good. That was a good show. I remember watching the show when I was younger.
Show that's gone completely forgotten.
No, Fillmore was a good show.
Worth doing a video on someday. So when people often complain about ABC Kids,
you remember watching Kim Possible?
Original programming wasn't being made anymore. I still enjoyed it because I went without Disney Channel my entire life.
Same.
So it was nice seeing all these shows, but the complaints were noteworthy. Ratings slowly dwindled as the block went on, but things like Power Rangers kept it alive as they kept producing new seasons up.
Okay. Quick disclaimer, Hannah Montana was not, I moved by then. At the time, guys, Emperor's School, Replacements, yes. Zack and Cody and Power Rangers, I remember being on TV, but Emperor's, That's So Raven, Hannah Montana, were never on Disney Channel, never on ABC Kids when I watched it. Never on ABC Kids when I watched it. Never once was on ABC Kids. Power Rangers, yeah. Power Rangers were on for an hour. Yeah, I remember watching Power Rangers for an hour. It came on at 1 o'clock, ended at 2 o'clock, when that was it. Then your cartoons were done for the day. Fox started it. Fox really started it, and ABC used to ended for the day for you guys around 2 o'clock at night. 2 p.m.
Or you could watch NBA Inside Stuff. Originally, the setting of the block was in a baseball stadium, which later became a rock stadium. And that cool light bulb EI logo.
Yeah, I remember that too. It was gone. The thing is, though, guys, Saturday morning cartoons were great. And yes, I wish they're still around today, but they're not, which sucks. I mean, Saturday morning cartoons should still been stayed on.
Out here, you need the advanced optical design of Sylvania LED Power Sport headlights.
Come on, guys. Saturday morning cartoons were great back in the day. I mean, if you're like me, you wish some of the cartoons were still around.
It got replaced by a typical EI logo with a graduation cap on.
Hate that.
Yeah. Great shows like Lilo and Stitch series, Phil of the Future, and
that was a good show.
Popular ones like That's So Raven,
Hate that show.
Buzz on Maggie, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, The Emperor's New School, The Replacements, and Hannah Montana all eventually found a place on the block. So with Disney basically having this block for super cheap and using it to air Power Rangers and reruns of Disney Channel shows, well, what happened? Well, obviously, as time went on, I altogether liked the shows less and less, but I would still come to watch the block anyway.
Recess is the last channel that worked.
I was a Power Rangers fan, but I knew of its popularity.
I mean,
as the block.
I'll get back. I'll tell you guys something I think about Power Rangers in a minute. I watched Power Rangers a lot, and I hated Power Rangers when they first came out. This or that. Hey guys. Now, the thing is, though, everyone said that in 2002, it died off, which I actually do agree, yeah. It died off in 2002. But that's not technically always true. I mean, move. Move, you silly kitty cat. My silly boy. My silly baby boy. What? Mommy's not in here. Now, that's what killed it all. I mean, 2002 is what killed everything off, obviously, that. I mean,
block age, the time it started out got a little later and later. Kids couldn't watch the block simply because it aired too late for them to catch it. Other things.
He said it was 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, guys. 9 to 2 was the hours, which 9 to 2, you see here. What was I doing on Saturday morning at 9 2 in third grade? That's right, not watching Saturday morning cartoons. I was playing hockey. I was actually playing. Most people were actually playing sports around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Like cable, of course, and the internet killed it. But even when it died in 2011, internet and internet video weren't so huge. I mean, Netflix was only just starting with their whole video on demand stuff. I don't think younger kids were entirely using the internet by 2011.
I wasn't using it until recently.
Them from TV. I'll give you what I truly think happened. So every year, Disney would do what it could to update the block and put new shows on it. And in 2006, the lineup was The Emperor's New School, The Replacements, 2 episodes of That's So Raven, Hannah Montana, Zack and Cody, and then the newest season of Power Rangers. Why do I know this by heart? Because they would keep that same lineup for 5 years straight.
Yep.
And with the exception of Power Rangers, they didn't even update the episodes. It was usually the same 10 episodes in circulation, and by the time the block died, all the shows have long been canceled on Disney Channel. ABC Kids became a graveyard for repeated episodes of the same thing. This, I'm sure, turned people away from the block and brought no new viewers in. And as Power Rangers sat at the latest time available
Yep.
of 12 p.m., when most kids were probably headed to other people's house.
12 p.m.? No, came on at 1. Well, it was on for 2 hours. Well, actually, I do remember Power Rangers being on until 1, 2 o'clock, which Power Rangers here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So Power Rangers run from 1. Power Rangers sometimes run for. Yeah, Power Rangers run for. Yeah, Power Rangers were,
houses or sports games. Its ratings fell. Power Rangers is still a popular franchise, so it's not like people didn't watch it, but having to sit through 3 hours of the same exact crap every single weekend could get a little tiring. Eventually, Disney was really scraping the bottom of the barrel. To get the nostalgia crowd, in 2010, they stopped producing new episodes of Power Rangers, which was cheap to begin with, and just re-released the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from the 90s with new effects. How low can you go? Apparently, Saban ended up negotiating with Disney to buy the rights back, a rare occurrence where Disney actually gave up one of its properties, and they brought it to Nickelodeon, where it's been kind of popular again. And
Season
they
28.
released a new feature film that people kind of saw and kind of liked. So in 2011, with Power Rangers gone, Disney was left with 5 shows that were not only dead, but they didn't even have a wide variety of episodes.
Never watched them.
ABC had gotten lazy with covering the mandate, and while I have heard constant rumors of a revamping and bringing new Disney Channel shows to the network, hope was dying when other stations began to replace their own programming blocks with a thing called Litton Entertainment documentary-style shows. They were taking control of almost every block because their shows were cheap and they covered the stupid federal mandate from the government. PBS it was announced that the same would happen to ABC, and on August 27, 2011, ABC Kids aired for a final time. The first time the station would go without Saturday animation in almost 50 years, and ended 15 years of history for the network. And it didn't even go off with a bang. I actually did watch the final broadcast, and guess what? It was all episodes I had seen on the block probably 20 times. At this point, I probably have several Hannah Montana episodes memorized by heart. I don't think Saturday morning cartoons will be returning anytime soon. The government made it difficult for the networks to deal with the mandates, while cable networks boomed, being able to air kids programming throughout the whole week, and Saturday mornings became days to go to elementary sports games, or to go outside, or go on the internet, or do video games, or go on Netflix. There's so many other options now that trying to finance a network cartoon is too expensive. It makes sense that one Saturday morning's intent to create original programming ended, but ABC Kids just died a slow death. Now, with the prevalence of YouTube and Netflix, the best thing you can do is find a TV show to stream, and if you want, just pause it and then watch a compilation of commercials on YouTube, because, hey, that was the best reason to watch anything on Saturday, right? The commercials. Commercials are always great.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Other than that, one Saturday morning of ABC Kids should be commended for what they did. They fought the best they could against the federal mandate and cable networks, and we got out of it some of the best programming ever, like Teacher's Pet, Pepper Ann, and to me, the most important thing was Recess. With 90s nostalgia on the rise, and with one Saturday morning now being like 20 years old, I'm surprised that Disney really hasn't done much to acknowledge it. There's not really t-shirts or even anything like that to buy.
Come on, Nickelodeon did a
only
tape.
Time will tell if they will ever acknowledge it. It was such a brief period of TV history, but if you're like me, you'd know that there was only one Saturday morning.
Yeah, if you're like me, you do remember that. It was great when it was around. Now, we're going to do something I never usually do before. I've never been to these. Let's see what the heck this is real quick, and if I don't like it, I'm changing it. Now, everyone knows who I am. You know, I was...
At the dawn of U.S. television, there were only 3 stations.
This is ABC Television Network.
This is the CBS Television Network.
NBC Television.
That was it. Those are the only ones available. It wasn't like now where we have cable channels like IFC, GSN, Smithsonian, whatever.
We also had Duma and PBS, you dummy. We had shit PBS.
It was really the only three. Many companies did try to have their own networks, though, at the time. The first big attempt was the Dumont Network.
This is the Dumont Television Network.
This network opened in 1942 until ceasing operations in 1956.
Hey, wait. You've got PBS, NET. You've got NET, PBS. You've got PBS, NET. National Television Educational Television, 1952.
ABC during this time was struggling. They only had 14 affiliate stations, while CBS and NBC had 40, and they were also on the verge of bankruptcy. However, one company saved them.
Paramount, which is now owned by Viacom. A Viacom company.
See, they had a theater division called the United Paramount Theaters, which was also on the verge of bankruptcy. And so, in 1953, they merged. And because of that merger, ABC was saved and became a household name. But also because of that, the Dumont Network also failed. All because of Paramount. However, besides saving ABC, they still had an interest of having their own network. I mean, they already had a Paramount television division in the company, which produced shows like Happy Days, Mission Impossible, The Arsenio Hall Show, etc. They had previously tried with the Paramount Television Network in 1948, but it actually did worse than the Dumont Network, only lasting 8 years with no hit shows, unless you think Time for Beanie is a hit. Plans began in 1976 by a man named Barry Diller for the new channel in collaboration with the Hughes Television Network, the Paramount Television Service.
Paramount owns TV now.
It was scheduled to launch in April 1978 with shows like Star Trek Phase 2 and a series based on the War of the Worlds film. Despite Barry's plans, though, 6 months before its launch, it was canceled after the board, Paramount, said it would lose too much money. The Star Trek series was later reformatted into the Star Trek film, and the War of the Worlds series was never materialized. Barry was infuriated by Paramount, though, so he chose to leave the studio. He was still determined to make a television network, so in 1984, he went to 20th Century Fox and created the network we know as Fox in 1986. He greenlit shows like The Simpsons and Married with Children, which gained traction to the network for the show's edge. And officially in 1984, Fox became the 4th U.S. television network.
The 5th.
But Paramount, they still wanted a part of that network pie, and what inspired them to do so was a new FCC rule that networks could now own their own shows. And they were hoping to team up with a company called Chris Kraft, who were originally a boat manufacturer, by the way, but they were working with Warner Brothers on their own station. In January 1983, Warner Brothers and Chris Kraft created the Primetime Entertainment Network as a potential 5th network. They aired programming such as Babeland 5, a space series, Kung Fu: The Legend Continues, a sequel to the 1972 ABC action western crime show, Point Man, a crime show that originally started as a TV movie and then later into a series, and Time Tracks, a sci-fi show, among many other syndicated programs. In November 1993, Warner Brothers announced that they would be forming a brand new network called the WB with the Tribune Company. 6 days later, Chris Kraft announced they were going with Paramount to create UPN, the United Paramount Network. However, this was already agreed upon back in July of that year, leaving the status of the Primetime Entertainment Network dead. It was officially pulled off the air in 1997. Also in 1994, Viacom would buy Paramount. This would become important later, trust me.
Yeah.
Gee, Daffy, I wonder who they're going to get to pull the switch. Why me, indubitably, as I possess all of the talent.
Yep, the frog. Michigan J. Frog's pulling the switch. Michigan J. Frog. Michigan J. Frog.
What's up, Frog?
Michigan J. Frog.
The WB first launched on January 11th, 1995, with the pilot of the show called The Wayans Brothers, a sitcom about two brothers. It also premiered other shows like Muscle, a show about a gym, which was canceled after 13 episodes.
WB never got on. I don't care.
On with some kind of computer. No. Those eyes real. The eyes are real. The eyes are real. Are you having fun?
No!
When it comes to being a designer, an independent designer, it's very difficult.
There's 1,000,001 designers. People don't see us, and it's a part of the game.